JoJo's show number 40-something. Let's keep it at 42, I guess. I know you're going to disagree.
I'm telling you, it's not 40. I think it's either 39 or 40.
No, man, it goes on. Well, anyway, I'm not going to argue about it. We're just going to say that we're back. Coming at you, hottest topics north of the tropics. What can I say? But there's big news out of Washington, huh? We'll play that a little bit later.
I'm not doing the whole, because it was BS. It was BS from the start. The whole
Correct.
Russia-Collusia thing, the Mueller
Correct.
probe, all that BS. And
Correct.
This is just a distraction BS too. You need to be figuring out what's going on behind the scenes while you're distracted by all this impeachment, because that's the important stuff.
I mean, these guys are gloating for nothing, and it's going to all come down like a house of cards on them, and they know it. And that's the thing. They're all gloating and this, that, and the other. So anyway, the other big elephant in the room, and it's not those elephants out of Alabama, it's the CFP playoff. We had that last week. We started with it, and I think we're going to take a lot of time today with it. And I know it's cold out. That's why we're in the little studio again. I like being in a little studio.
Yeah, that and the phone's going to pick up better in here.
Yeah, the phone. We're going to be calling the same guys we call that hurricane weekend or tropical storm weekend in July with all their CFP picks. With the sands of talking to Big Steve, I think Big Steve is still in New York. New York. Well, anyway, I hope he's having a great time, him and his wife, Becky. It was her birthday week. Happy birthday, Becky, again. But we need to get down to what we think about the CFP. Latest news surrounding the top four teams for not this Saturday coming, but the next Saturday. News out of Oklahoma. 3 team players suspended.
Yeah, only 2 of them were actually starters. Actually, in Ramondre Stevenson, yes, I would like to have him. He was the backup to Kennedy Brooks. Now, whether or not he'll be able to play, I don't know. Whether or not these guys they're appealing it, I don't know. Trayon Bridges, I guess he's just a special teamer.
Special teams
but
player.
The guy, if we did miss somebody from the suspended players, there's going to be that Ronnie Perkins, that number 7 on that defensive end.
A great pass rusher.
Yeah, we got that. If we don't have that number 7 on the defensive end, that's going to be. It'll be a defensive blow. Don't get me wrong, but hey, man, it's next man up. We've been in this position before. Hey, and I hear LSU's got a guy hurt too.
Yeah, Edwards Hilaire. I think I always mix his name up. Number 22, a stalwart back there, counted for over 1,600 yards total offense, pass catching, a jitterbug juking runner, hard to tackle. You can see, we'll go back to the film for LSU and look at Alabama's missed tackles and things like that, and other missed tackles all during the season. I mean, a stalwart back there, Catholic High grad, if I can say that. They always say that when you mention Major Applewhite and who else who went to Catholic High and the Advocate, or even on the newscast here locally. But he's got a hamstring pull, and they said, oh, well, they got technical about it, and he's on crutches the other day, you told me, and I didn't know about it. So, I mean, that could be a blow to the Tigers' offensive prowess. But then again, that machine is a juggernaut, and somebody will have to step up. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm actually just tired of talking about it. I'm ready to get there and get it over with.
Well, I mean, getting back to OU, with Ronnie Perkins out, number 7, who was a great defensive edge pass rusher. I think he made second team all-conference, this and that. They've got people to step up. They're talking about Marcus Stripling, who coveted by Georgia. I believe he flipped from Georgia to OU, and Alabama really wanted him. So the people got to step up, and I'm sure the Tigers will prevail with whoever they put back there, because the LSU offense really relies on Joe Burrow to do his thing, his magic. Heisman Trophy winner, everything else to go with that, and that their wide receivers are averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 yards per catch. That's after catch the ball. If they catch it at 2 or 3 yards down the field, they're 15, 20 yards down the way, a long way. The only stat, we got some stats. We talked to people, joked about stats, but the only stats I really want to really see is how many 30-plus, 40-plus, 50-plus TDs that the Tigers get this year, because the Sooners are susceptible to giving up the big play, here and there, sometimes during the game, but they're susceptible to coming back. Not susceptible, they can come back after they're being scored upon, just like LSU has done throughout the season. So it should be a great CFP, the first game of that December 28th.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start breaking into something. I just want to let everybody know the only game that Oklahoma was held, their lowest point total was in the TCU game. There were a couple of turnovers right there. We were moving the ball. Should have been more points. We won that game 28-24. Other totals, I'm just going to rally them off to you. 49-70, 48, 55, 45, 34, 52, 48, 42, 34, 28, 34, and 30 against Baylor. 34 against Baylor the first time. We scored 41 against Kansas State.
We gave up 48.
Yeah, and we gave up 48. So, yeah, those two games, you're missing two key defensive players. This is a common occurrence for us, scoring 30, 40, 50 points. We've done it for the last 5 years under Lincoln Riley, even on good defenses. So the only thing I'm going to say is that Oklahoma is going to score a lot of points.
Okay, well, I'm sure LSU will score a lot of points too. It should be the best game out of the CFP. I'm looking for Clemson and Ohio State, and I'm looking for Clemson to put the quietus on Ohio State. Okay, we're going to get to the phone calls, and we're going to figure this out as we did the last time. I think the first call we'll try to go with is Gary G.
Hello.
Hey, man, what's up?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much.
Still watching Get Shardy?
Yeah, just bouncing around.
Yeah, what I wanted to tell you is I thought I saw a sequel coming out. There's a Bat in My House Part 2.
Get out of here.
Yeah, half soul brother, half bat. But I was just
batty.
batty. Anyway, getting back to it, I called you earlier, and we found your picks from July. That was that tropical storm night or hurricane, whatever. You had Clemson, Alabama, OU, and the Crying Irish.
I said maybe the Crying Irish.
Yeah, and I think you had said Michigan and Ohio State weren't going to mount to much, but so here we are in the Final Four again, and the big topic and the big talk would be LSU OU and Ohio State Clemson. I'll rat-a-tat on Ohio State Clemson.
Yeah,
Joe.
Yeah, Gary. Look, how pleased are you with this season, 2019?
Dude, it's great to be a Tiger fan, man. I couldn't ask for anything more. My only wish is I was able to get out to see him in person. As he looked impressive on TV, I'd love to see him from the south end zone.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so you weren't able to catch any games this year?
No, just right on the big 52-inch right here. That's about it.
Okay, man. Well, hey.
And I mean, you look at it. Let's go back. Here we were, a team that was looking for an identity, and they showed their identity when they rolled over Texas. Instead of the 4-minute offense trying to run the ball out, run the game, and not lose the game, what they do, they went and stepped on their necks.
Yeah, they did. It was. I mean, that 3rd and 18 was probably one of the early season plays of the year for the Tigers, but much less what he did against Georgia the other night. Joe Burrow, I mean, he's the real deal. I don't think I've seen a quarterback like him, that confident. He's not a Tebow. He's not a Manning. He's this and that. He's Joe Burrow in itself, a class in itself. And I really think that you said you didn't pick him. Let's see. A couple of us picked them, but who would have thought that the Tigers would be 13-0, Coach of the Year, Offensive Line of the Year, Maxwell, all the hardware that goes with it, the Biletnikoff, that's a coveted trophy if you ask me, the wide receiver trophy. But I just think that, it was a great season for the Tigers. It's overdue. Joe Burrow for governor, what else can I say?
Exactly, man. Exactly. Like you said, he said, go ahead and give Orgeron the lifetime contract. Nobody wanted him. Nobody thought he could do anything when he came from USC, and USC didn't even want him.
Yeah,
And,
but at least they didn't let him off before they got to the locker room like they did Lane Kiffin when they fired him. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, exactly. Well, and then Olane's going to land over at Ole Miss. What's that going to do for the conference, man? It's just going to make it that much more fun, much more interesting. But the Mississippis are, the stepchilds of the SEC. I think they're all talk, for about 3/4, and then when it comes down to nut cutting time, they just seem to teeter out.
Piss on themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But back to the Tigers. Nobody would have thunk it. Who would have thought it? I mean, it just Ed had a plan. He just said, "Hey, I'm going to get the people and put them in the position and put you in a position to win.
That's
Go out
it.
and do your job, and if you do your job, then everybody will be fine." And everybody, they pull together. They pull the town together. And about Joe, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell the nines apart.
Yeah.
From 89 miles down the road to LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so similar. I mean, not so much as the numbers as the number is on the jersey as they are in the way they look. But of course, they're running each other's offense, man. I mean, I think he could step right in. And then everybody just stepped up a notch too, from the receivers. How many drop passes did we have this year? You could probably count them in one hand. And
hey, Gary, look, I want to get technical with you real quick. We don't have too much time, but I also want to get a little technical with you real quick. Talk about some of these games. Now, we do have a common opponent, which is Texas. We beat them by 7. Y'all beat them by 7. Joe Burrow had 471 yards passing against Texas. Offense put up 45 points. I would say they get close to that total against Oklahoma. Also, there's one game I want to get your take on. Burrow was held to 321 yards, and the offense was held to just 23 points. That was October 26th at the Auburn game. What was it about the Auburn game? You only won by 3 points in Tiger Stadium. What was it about the Auburn game that Auburn did different? And could another team like Oklahoma, or if y'all get to the national championship, could another team like that hold y'all's offense in check?
Well, it's kind of hard to say that, Joe had a bad game. Like you said, he threw for over 300 yards and just one touchdown. That's the smallest output of the season, was just one touchdown against Auburn. Auburn is gimmicky. I don't know.
That's right.
Gus always has some kind of gimmick to do, and they scored on a couple of or got down there in a couple of trick plays, if I remember that. And he's got that. We're going to motion out, motion in, motion out, and all that, and the quick offense, the short huddle, and the scuttle, I think is what they call it, where they jump right up there and try and catch you off guard. It's, a win in the SEC is a win in the SEC. It doesn't matter who you play.
Yeah.
Vandy jumped on top of them one of the times that they were behind.
Right, and same thing in the Big 12. A win in the Big 12 is the same thing on the road or whatever, overtime or whatever. To me, you know the Big 12. When the last one scores, wins. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But the defensive is starting to come around, man. Derek Stingley, man, what can you say about this kid, man?
Yeah, man.
He could go pro and be like a top 5 pick probably.
Well, yeah, he deserved All-American honors for sure, and I think he'll probably draw up on CeeDee Lamb, number 2, who made All-American too. So it's going to be a great matchup on that. So give us your I would like what you said, that part about what Little Joe put in. What do you think? LSU, OU. I know where your heart is. I know what you know. We know each other very well for all these years. What do you think, LSU, OU?
I mean, the factor is going to be Hurts, man. I mean, he's coming to Tiger Stadium. He's beaten LSU at Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in the big games. He's the X factor. I mean, they're saying that LSU has no defense. Well, they just started showing up. Well, I mean,
right.
You look at it, if you can't beat half the teams that they beat with a base defense, then you don't need to be playing. And defense is going to be the key.
Yeah.
The offense is going to be there.
Yeah.
And they want to get, how is OU going to do it? Are they going to try and shorten the game and limit their possessions, or are they going to try and match toe to toe?
That's my. If I was running the offense, that's what I'd be trying to do. We'd be trying to milk the clock of every second.
Keep the ball away from him.
Yes, keeping the ball away from Joe Burrow in that highfalutin offense. But look, we got to get to some of these other calls, man. It was good to talk to you.
We're going to get back to you next week.
Take care, man.
We're going to get back to you before the game next week.
All right, guys.
All right, thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, man. Later.
Okay, well, that was one of our longtime listeners, and we wanted to give him the floor. Of course, everybody that we're going to talk to tonight is a Tiger fan. They think that, I'm sure that, LSU is going to win the game outright. But Gary said something really important. It's all about Jalen Hurts. It's all about, is Hurts going to show up, do his thing, and not turn the ball over? Because I guarantee if Hurts shows up with that Lincoln Riley offense and does his thing, and Oklahoma's scoring, I ain't going to say at will, but they're moving the football down the field and putting it in the end zone, LSU going to have a tough time. I'm telling you. Joe Burrow, 400 yards passing or not, the team who scores last wins. That's it. It's going to come down to who got the ball last. My humble opinion, Oklahoma's not going quietly, put it that way. And neither is LSU. So put the ball in the hands of the playmakers, Burrow, Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Hurts. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a great atmosphere. I can't wait.
You got that right. All right, we're going to call somebody else here, Gary.
Yeah, just anybody.
Yeah, we'll call anybody out there. Anyway, I think, like you said, it's going to be up to the quarterbacks, and it's LSU's getting, the Joe Moore Award for offensive line, the best offensive line in the nation. The Sooners got that last year, and I probably a year or two before or whatever with the offensive lines they had with the Heisman Trophy quarterbacks that they've had. So it's a great honor. Sidelight to any story, I was down there in 1982. Penn State and Georgia were playing, and I was partying at Pat O'Brien's with the Penn State offensive linemen after they had beaten Georgia and Herschel Walker. So that was a great thing.
Yeah,
we're
Georgia.
calling Gary S. now.
Yeah, all right.
There you go.
Gary S., what's going on?
Not much. What's up with you?
Nothing. We're using code names, so we're just calling you Gary S.
Yeah, well, I got a better one.
What's that one?
Brahma Bull.
Brahma Bull, you got that right. Listen, we researched. Good talking to you again. Happy holidays to you and yours out that way.
What's up, Gary? How you doing?
Hey, little Joe, what's going on?
Nothing, man. You still working at that godforsaken place?
I sure am, buddy. I sure am. I feel like hot thing over there.
Yeah, tell me about it. Hey, well, you're alive. That's the good thing.
Listen, we wanted to get back to you. We talked to you in July, I think the last time we got to you, and that was during that hurricane or tropical storm that was coming through, and we started getting cranked up on the CFP picks. And your 4 picks came about the closest of all the guys we called that night. We got LSU. You had LSU, OU, Clemson, and Alabama. You were going to put 2 SEC teams in there. So it looked like, and I think you had Ohio State or Michigan on the bubble. So you're not too far off.
I can't remember. I can't remember, Joe. But anyway, I should have listened to little Joe and not put Alabama in there.
Yeah.
No. Look, we got you. You like I say, what were they, Joe? Because
you had LSU, OU, Clemson, and Alabama.
Yeah.
So you weren't too far off.
Yeah.
I mean,
the only
Ohio
team,
State was your bubble team.
The only team that you didn't have in there was Alabama, but you put Ohio State where not getting into it. But you had, like I said, the closest out of everybody that we asked.
Yeah, well, that's good. A blind hog will find a nut every once in a while.
There you go. That's pretty cool. So we will get down to it. We don't want to keep you too much, but again, like I said, it's LSU and OU, and then it's Clemson and Ohio State. What do you think about Clemson and Ohio State? We'll go with that first. Clemson?
I'm going with underdog, Clemson.
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot of talk that Dabo Swinney, if you listened to the show last time or last couple of weeks, we have been talking about it. He said nobody respects them. They don't play nobody. He's right. They played Wofford. They played Charleston. Nobody respects them until it gets to this time. I think they got the number 1 recruiting class for 2020 again this year, I believe. And LSU and Alabama are close behind. And Ohio State. But, bottom line is that when you're out there saying nobody nobody respects you and you don't play anybody. Well, it's true. You don't play anybody. The ACC is probably the weakest of the conferences, if you ask me. And then if you're crying the blues and saying, you know, we're not that good and this and that, well, you know, it may come back to bite you, and then they weren't going to get in the CFP and this and that. It's almost the same travesty that's going up there in Washington if they wouldn't have got into Clemson in there. But you like Clemson, and I like Clemson too. To me, they're the dark horse of the whole thing, if you ask me.
Yep, that's right.
They got a good quarterback, and they always got a good defense.
And Joe, I got to go with the Stars. The Stars are telling me it's going to be between LSU and Oklahoma. It's going to be LSU.
Yep.
And LSU will play Clemson, just like they done back in the day when you and I was crawling around in Standard Heights.
Right.
And you know, the year 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, Billy Cannon number 20.
Yeah.
And 2020 is just all lining up with the Stars. And I didn't come up with that. I might have told you already. I listened to Bunny Cannon talk about this.
Yeah.
And I got to go with the girl.
That's Billy Cannon's daughter, right?
That's Billy Cannon's daughter, Bunny Cannon. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and
that's I saw it. I saw it somewhere on Facebook. What you told me the other day about how she felt about it. It was 2020. Billy Cannon died May 18. Joe Burrow signed with LSU May 18. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So 2 Heisman Trophy winners, nearly 60 years apart. That's unbelievable.
Hey, Gary, look, I just want to ask you a question, though. This is coming from a outsider just looking at LSU. You know, let's look at the Bama game real quick. LSU won that game 46-41. First time they had beat Alabama in 9-10 tries. That's great. But I want to ask you, as a Tiger fan, as just a watcher of football, if Tua Tagovailoa is 100% and finishes that game in a strong fashion, not basically not hurt, would the game have been different?
Yes.
Okay. Why? Why would you say that?
Why? Because he is. Damn, he's got a hell of an arm. He's so damn mobile. He's a hell of an athlete, and I just feel like if he'd been 100%, it would have been a nail biter, and I think the Tigers would have come out on the short end of the stick. That's just my gut feeling. Yeah,
46-41, and Bama made a game of it kind of late. That dude gave up that long pass. Don't get me wrong, but if you're playing a 4-quarter game, 46-41, that's pretty nail biter to me.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I think about the Tigers in that game, whether it would have been 2 or whatever. But the Tigers didn't let the pedal down. They had it early. They had Alabama quickly there in the first half. And, they didn't let the pedal down, and Alabama made a game out of it, and that's how Oklahoma does it. The Big 12, they score a lot of points. I think each over and under before every game is 75 to 90 points. You're going to score a lot of points, and that's the way I feel about Oklahoma. LSU is going to score a lot of points, and Oklahoma's going to score a lot of points. It's been proven the last 2 times Oklahoma's played Alabama and Georgia in the past 2 CFPs. But, bottom line is I think that it's going to be a shootout, and I believe that if all the stars are lining up, that'll be good for y'all. And like I said, we love them both, and we're pushing for OU on this side, man. And I think whoever's going to win is going to wind up playing Clemson.
Yep, I think you're right, Joe. I think you hit the nail on the head. And it's just too much coincidence going on. As far as I'm concerned, I'm really a superstitious kind of guy.
Okay.
And just lining up. Things are lining up. I'm sorry, but things are lining up, and
well, there you go. The cosmos is all lining up. They were even they were even saying the other day scientifically that the magnet of the North Pole is moving around up there on the Antarctica. So you don't know what's happening now.
Okay, look, Gary. In all truthfulness, Merry Christmas to you and your family. We want, we wish our best wishes for the new year and stuff. But the over/under is 75, I believe.
76.
76.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you know the total of the points, at least what the gamblers are saying that it's going to be, give us a final score, LSU Oklahoma.
LSU Oklahoma. Okay. I'm going to go with 30-21.
30-21. Okay, you're going way under the over/under. You're almost 4 touchdowns under.
I think they'll reach that in the first half at the end of halftime.
Do you really? Do you really, Joe?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think both teams are going to come out firing, and the defenses are going to be caught off guard, and it could possibly be a 28-14 at halftime or a 21-30, or just like you say, it's going to be a lot of points real quick either way by one of those teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they both got so much firepower. Like I said, they're 0.4 hundredths of a yard off of their total offensive output. I think LSU's 544 and Oklahoma's 543 and a half or 6. But I mean, it means a lot. But listen, we're going to call you again before next week and get your final pick and your final thoughts, and want you to enjoy Christmas. We'll be calling you after Christmas, and I hope you get those slippers that you've been wanting, or that sweater. But I mean, give your best to all the family, man. Earl too.
I will, Joe. And you tell all your family I love them.
Okay, man.
And Merry Christmas to everyone.
All right. Thanks, Gary. We'll talk to you later.
All right. See you later.
Goodbye.
All right. That was Gary from Slaughter. And we're just going to keep this thing rolling as much as we can. That's one thing, that's coming from a Tiger fan. That takes a lot of cojones to get up here and say that the game probably would have been different if you had 100% healthy Tua Tagovailoa. And you know what? I'm willing to say that Alabama season probably would have been different too, because you don't have Mac Jones in that game with Auburn, and you got Tagovailoa on the sidelines. I mean, hey, he looked pretty good before he got hurt, even considering, so, I mean, everybody knows he had a shot in that LSU game. By the time that shot wore off in the LSU game, he could barely even stand up. Well, and I'm no apologist for Alabama, don't get me wrong, but you heard that coming from a straight-up Tiger fan that, the game would have been different had you had 100% healthy Tagovailoa, but it's over. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to break down some of these matchups, some of these games, because you have an offensive juggernaut that you're about to play, and you're giving up a whole bunch of points, both teams, to good offensive teams. So That's why I say it. That's what, I think it could be a 28-21, a 28-14, a 30-21 at halftime.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think last year Alabama, was 34-10?
Yeah, it was 34-10 at halftime, and then the Sooners came in and shut them down.
Right. Bama scored twice in the second half, and the Sooners came back and scored 24. I think with Tua, I got to credit you saying his last name anyway, but I credit
Tagovailoa.
Yeah, you're doing good there. But I credit Tua with a great season, and I don't think he's going to be back for next year.
Yeah, I know a big-time Bama fan. He doesn't seem to think he'll come back either.
That's it. All right, we're going to call then
the bug man.
Yeah, the bug man.
We're going to call the bug man.
Hey,
are you the bug man?
I am the bug man. Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to be bugging you tonight about this CFP matchup, mythical, insurmountable, biblical proportion matchup between the Tigers of LSU and the Sooners of OU. We want to get.
I love it when you say insurmountable.
That's it. It's a mountain to climb. I mean, to stop that LSU juggernaut offense and the defense, the Sooners are capable of having. It's Little Joe and Big Joe here. But listen, we pulled out your picks from Show 23. Okay. That was the night of the tropical storm or the hurricane approaching our area, and you had LSU, Clemson, Alabama, Michigan, and OU on the outside. So you got LSU and Clemson down. Michigan, you kind of bombed on, and Alabama could have slipped in there either way if Tua would have been healthy. Who knows? But I mean, bottom line is you got pretty close there, and we want to get your take on of the season, LSU season. What do you think about their season this year?
It's magical. Just a team that is focused on just scoring points.
and they scored a bunch of them, and it's a new wave for them, and they went for it, and the proof is in the pudding. It's the best offensive season in quite some time.
Kudos and all the hardware. I mean, Coach of the Year, Heisman Trophy, all the hardware that goes with it. And then today, I think they said that, or it was yesterday, that Tigers offensive line won the Joe Moore Offensive Line of the Year award, which the Sooners won last year. To me, that's where it's at. The offensive line. You could have Joe Burrow. You could have anybody back there, not anybody, but somebody. You got those horses up front, and to me, I thought that was going to be the underlying factor that was going to be LSU's telltale season. I just knew that Joe Burrow was going to get better, and when he said preseason we're capable of scoring 50 points, that's a big matzo ball to be hanging out there, and all of a sudden there they are scoring almost 50 points a game.
Yeah, but they walk the talk, and you talk about that offensive line. That they talk about, they probably wasn't the most talented. They certainly wasn't the biggest.
Yeah.
But they probably played best as a unit than anybody.
Gosh, dog. I mean,
5 to 5. From tackle to tackle.
Yeah. I watched. Just the fillers since the season ended. I watched LSU and Alabama the other night, and then I watched LSU Georgia. I mean, Joe, when he ran around and solidified his Heisman Trophy the other night, he ran around against Georgia and threw that one going on the sidelines and threw it 50 yards in the air, and then guy gets another 20, 30 yards on the yak. But the offensive line was still blocking after Joe threw the pass. And I saw them all. They got man on man. And they're not the biggest, but they weren't probably the most experienced, but they got after it. And, Auburn game, I saw Joe go down a couple of times. Texas, I think they might have got to him there. But, other than that, against Alabama and Georgia, hey, I never seen him hit the ground. Maybe I missed some.
You're right. Alabama didn't play as well and I think that Auburn was the one team that really knocked him down more than any of them. Texas did knock him down, But he found a way. He has a really instinctive way in the pocket, Yeah. And so just like the great ones, the Brady's and those guys that just 2 little steps or a sachet here or there, and then they got a little pocket and they make the throw. They got a little more time. Well, and he showed Texas for sure. So
well, and Texas and OU, that's a common opponent that LSU will be playing here the 2 Saturdays from now. But bottom line is that that LSU's offense is where it is, and it's a juggernaut again. It's an unsurmountable, creating havoc, just scoring a scoring machine, score when they want to. That's what LSU reminds me of. But in the other turn, OU's defense has come up through the Big 12, changed all their percentages and placements of being in the bottom 100 last year, all the way up until between 25 and 30 percentile this year. So I think the Sooners will have to try to put pressure on Joe if they can from the outside or sprint a linebacker here or there. But Joe's always got that safety valve, and that safety valve being Hilaire. So what do you think about his status, and what do you think about if he can't play, what's it do to the Tigers' offense?
Well, I think if he doesn't play, that could, it'll slow a few things down. I think, in 12 more days of practice will help, knowing that, hey,
it's less than 9 now.
Yeah. Then they could practice, but I think he'll play. 9 days of rest, anything, and he's a guy who wants to play and wants to battle, and
right.
So I think he'll be out there.
All right.
Hey,
yes, sir, Joe.
I didn't call you on the show just to blow a whole bunch of smoke up, LSU's behind. So, look, I just want to get your take. We've asked a couple of our guests about the Bama game. We've asked a couple of our guests about the Auburn game. I want to get your take. I'm looking at some of these games here. Let's look at the Florida game real quick. Now, Trask had over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Trask was straight out of high school. And, he's a big boy, and he can run the football, and he's tough. He reminds me of like a Ellinger, And I just want to take you back to a point in that game. If you remember correctly, if I remember correctly, help me out here. LSU was either they were tied up or they were down at one point in the Florida game.
Early in the third.
Okay. So I remember that LSU, I want to say they scored, they went ahead, and then Trask drives the team down there. Whatchamacallit, Mullins yanks him on on a second down or something, puts that other kid in there. Yeah, and then put him back in there for a third down, and he throws an interception. To me, that was the turning point of the game right there, because Florida had a lot of momentum. If Florida would have got that TD and evened up the score, it might, I'm not saying Florida would have won, but it was, as a Tiger fan, it would concern me that Florida could do that.
Defense back then, they had a lot of guys all year long that weren't healthy. Every week they played without somebody here or there. But those games, like you guys have said, I mean, those games are water under the bridge. I mean, it's all right in front of us now. We don't want to go back to the Florida game or 3rd and 4 at the Auburn game or, fourth, 3rd and 10 at the Alabama game and this, that, and other. LSU has proven that they can do it even when their back's up against the wall. Hey, we only have a 2-point lead or we only have a 3-point lead. We'll just kick a field goal and go up. No, they're going down and score a touchdown.
Yeah,
I talked to Ensminger at the beginning of the season.
Right.
I saw him at the LaBerge, and we talked a little strategy, and he said we can score. We can score on anybody. So,
yeah. That's they can,
and they've done it.
They can and they will. I'm predicting a big shootout. I'm predicting every time each team got the ball, they're scoring. I'm predicting the fans getting rowdy. I'm predicting, they sell alcohol in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I've never been, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm predicting the over-under is 75, and we've been asking everybody tonight, okay, if the over-under 75 and LSU's supposed to be favored by 14 points, give us a score. Give us a final.
50-24.
50-24.
Yes, sir.
That's a logical score. I mean, that's a lot of score. Last year was 40.
That's right at the number, and Vegas knows.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just don't think that OU could stop LSU. So even if OU scores 40, I think LSU will score 50.
Yeah. I mean,
I just don't think after a while, Aranda with a full health of the defense, and you've seen it the last 2 LSU games. They were a little more dominant than they had been all year.
Yeah, and I believe the key is
the last 2 games don't matter. It just matters what's in front.
Okay, I want to throw some numbers out to you. The last playoff rounds, 2017, Oklahoma put up, I think it was 42 offensive, or the 52 because we went in overtime. They put up 42 offensive and put up 34 last year against Alabama, and those teams that year were the SEC's best defense, Georgia 2017, Alabama 2018. Would you reckon to say that LSU's got the best defense in the SEC?
Oh, no, but I would also think that Baker Mayfield is twice the quarterback that Jalen Hurts is.
Yeah, as far as passing.
I mean, you being an OU fan would have to agree, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. I would say Murray.
That's the end of that.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. No, well, one of our previous guests said the X factor for the whole darn game is Jalen Hurts, and I'd have to agree with him.
I do too. I mean, he scares me to death. I don't know the exact number, but at 50-3 in his career, he don't lose.
Yeah, you said it. You said it earlier.
Something like that,
You said it earlier, and I don't want to interrupt, but you said it earlier. LSU can, to me, and I agree with you. LSU can score anytime they want to score. I don't care if they're 2 points behind, 6 points behind, or whatever. They yak. They throw the ball well. Joe. They adjust to it, and Joe's looking to the sidelines, and they're going to adjust to it. The yak, what scares me, and the Sooners give up a big play, but it lands on Jalen Hurts' his shoulders. That he's had
and Oklahoma's defense. Not to cut you off, because y'all you want to talk about how many times we've been in the playoffs and this, that, and the other. OU, I mean. But the proof is in the pudding. They haven't won since 2000.
No, you're right.
And they always get beat in this round. So I don't see anything different.
No, and I'm glad they're in it. And I mean, like I say, we say it to give that's a stat that you give. I think they come out with more stats in football now than they do in baseball. But I mean, bottom line is it's going to be a great game. If you got 50-24, I'm going to put that down. and we're going to get your take again next week to see where Hilaire is, and we'll get your take again.
That could be a big deciding factor.
Yeah, I mean, 1,600 yards and almost 20 touchdowns for the Tigers this year. But you got to hand it all to Joe and LSU, all the hardware and stuff they've done. It's been a miraculous miracle year, if you ask me. If you'd have told me at the start of the season they would have went 13-0, I had them in my Final Four with Alabama and Clemson and OU. And
I did too, but I didn't see 13-0.
I didn't see it either. It was tough, and they beat all those teams, even though the East is least, if you ask me. And I'm glad they got Kirby not so smarts out of there, and Nick needs Nick needs another second here or there. And
I'm just glad Alabama's out of there.
Yeah, you got that right.
Amen to that. There you go.
All right, man. Well, we're going to get.
What bowl game are they in? Oh, is that a new bowl they're in?
They lucky they made it that far. But here's one thing, and then we gotta time is doing this in. But look, one thing I don't understand is they put Georgia number 5, and they got shellacked by LSU, and they lost at home to an unranked South Carolina team, whereas Bama loses at home to number 1 LSU by 5 points, and then basically misses a field goal, and gets beat by Auburn, and they dropped them all the way to 13, but yet they kept Georgia up there that high? That doesn't make any sense.
I didn't understand that either. Really, Alabama beats Auburn, and we don't even have this discussion. It's a
exactly.
replay of LSU Alabama. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't understand that. I thought Alabama would just roll.
Yeah.
Even with another quarterback, or they could have put you and I in there. I just really thought Alabama would have beat Auburn.
They almost did.
Well, I wish, and I know what Nick was saying was, damn, I should have kept Jalen here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, yeah. He put him on speed dial. Hey, can you come back?
Yeah, and he probably would. He said, just change helmets. All right, buddy. We'll see you.
He's the only one that I worry about is Hurts at like I said, 51-3 or 52-4. However many his record is. He's a winner, and that's all he's done is win. So
he's a class guy, just like Joe Burrow, man.
He is.
Well, listen, we're gonna get back to you after Christmas, maybe a night or two before the game.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks for your time, brother.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you.
Later.
Bye.
Later. All right, that was the Bug Man. We're going to have to take some type of a break here, pause for the cause, during the Lizard, whatever. So we'll be back on the Joe and Joe Show in just about 1 second. Okay, like I said, we're back. We're going to have another guest on.
Hello?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Oh, not too much, man. Just put the kids to bed.
Yeah, I figured you might be giving them a shower. Boy, they go to bed early, huh?
Well, Ethan's in school, and sometimes in the morning he has trouble getting up, so I like to put him to bed early so he can get up fresh. You know what I'm saying?
Well, good, man. We're glad you're having you on the Joe Show, Big Joe, Little Joe, and we talking about football. The big white elephant in the room. And I text you earlier and told you we were going to give you a call and get you on the show, and like to keep you a frequent caller if we can. When we do call-ins, I mean, we're always trying to do something new, and this is something old. But we're taking everybody's picks in July.
Right.
Brian, Big Steve, let's see, Gary S., Gary G., Thumper, that is. But, I mean, we tried to get everybody's picks, mine and Derek's, and we got pretty close on it. But would you think – now, who would you think at the start of the season, man, who would be in the CFP? Give me your honest thought, just the top 4.
Absolutely. I thought that Alabama was going to be there. I thought Clemson was going to be there. I never thought Ohio State was going to be there. And I knew if Oklahoma wins the Big 12 that they're going to get in there because it's the ratio of the power rankings, and they get there every year just because they win their conference. And that's not, nothing bad about them. It's just the way it's set up, Shoot, I always hoping LSU's in there, but in the gist of the things, I really, was sitting there waiting to see if LSU was going to beat Alabama, and then Auburn beat them also. So here we are.
Well, you said the key thing, man. 9 years ago, the last time we beat Alabama. And then you said the key thing, look how the world has changed. Look how many more benefits do you have if you beat Alabama in your own conference, correct?
Exactly. I think that Clemson beat Alabama the last 2 out of 3 years, and it opened up
every of the conference. It just kind of like took the draft picks away from Alabama, and everybody kind of made a big gain from it. And shoot, now it's just a wide open field. It's like anybody's in, and shoot, I think we're at the last 4 teams. I think the teams are absolutely right as far as the way they got them standard first, second, third, and fourth. And shoot, we're here to play football, and everybody is. So it's just going to be, it's up for grabs. I mean, anybody can win the game at this time.
Hey, Aaron, what's up, man? This is Little Joe. Hey, man, in all truthfulness, and in my humble perspective, defensively, Alabama ain't looked the same since we played them and put 34 points on them. I don't know what it is about their defense. Yeah, that was last year and all that good stuff, but Clemson went out there the next game in the national championship last year, just gave them a beat down. Didn't look like the same team I had seen all year. Saban, after the games, talking on the press conference, they ran out there, ran them Oklahoma plays. I had to rewind it myself. I was like, did he just say that? Not beating my team's chest or anything, but I will give you this. Loaded question. What is the single biggest factor? Because a lot of the players to me are the same defensively, offensively. What is the single biggest factor? What did LSU do different this year that they didn't do in the last, 3 years?
Well, I think for sure they spread open the offense, and they're scoring high points. They played Florida or whatever, and I actually lost a bet on the Florida game to my brother-in-law, and it was a win-lose, but I didn't think LSU really was that team. But for them to put that many numbers on the scoreboard against Florida and still win, I mean, they went tied up at half at 24, and that was a lot of points. And then at the end of the game, they scored 45 or something like that.
42.
Sure on the numbers. Yeah, 42. I'm not sure on the numbers, but LSU has been putting up the big numbers. I looked against Oklahoma. Oklahoma's put up the same numbers, 56, 40. They've just been putting up big astronomical numbers. So I drew it all the way back to what's really going on right now is that LSU played Texas and Oklahoma played Texas. And the in and out of that to me was that they both lost by 7. They both won by 7. So they're equally matched. They both won by 7. LSU scored more points. My thing is, at the end of the game, whoever scores the most points is going to win that game. And that's just going to be it. We gave up all those points. Y'all didn't give up as many points as us. It's whoever is going to come out there. Oklahoma is flashy. They're a whole different team than us. They come out there with, we got the same lineup. They come out there and pull, 30 different players on offense and defense, especially on offense. And any given day, those guys can outrun our receivers. They can make the big play. I love Jalen Hurts. I think that if he wins the national championship this year, it'd make Nick Saban look like a fool. He'd win 3 national championships and sat the bench because Nick Saban thought that Taliabu was better than him and sat him on the bench. But he has the possibility to win 3 national championships and was benched just because some coach thought that the other guy was better than him.
Yeah.
And then he sat there. The whole year and absorbed everything that the coach was teaching him. And then he went over there and he has another chance to win his 3rd national championship.
Yeah, I would have to say, heading into the game, we know about Burrow. LSU gonna score a bunch of points. Our defense is better. I wouldn't say they ain't no Auburn defense, but they are better. But I would have to say, we've talked to some of the other people. You'll see the show later. And a couple of people have already said that the X factor, the biggest question mark on everybody's mind is Jalen Hurts. Whether or not he's going to be able to do his thing and protect the football, because that's been an issue for him all year as an Oklahoma fan. It's been a double-edged sword. Yeah, if we don't have Hurts, we're not winning these games. Oh, man, Hurts made these games close because he turned the ball over. So I will give that to Jalen Hurts. But I wanna throw something out at you real quick. We are kind of, I ain't going to say pressed for time, but we got to get it going. Fine. So, look, the over-under is 75. LSU is favored by 14, so Oklahoma's got 14 points going into the game. Give me a final score. Now that you know LSU's supposed to be supposed to win by 14 and the over-under 7-5, give me a final score.
Man, I'd love to do that, but I'm gonna push you on that, man. They're gonna go and play the game or whatever. I would probably pick Clemson over Ohio State, and other than that, man, LSU and the Oklahoma game is gonna be a tough fight. It's gonna be. I mean, we never faced a quarterback like Jalen Hurts. As far as this dude runs like a tailback, he throws like a great quarterback. And shoot, he's going to pull our defensive backs up when he runs, and he's going to open it up for his passing game, and just vice versa. I really don't want to comment on the score of the game, man. I think, shoot, if anybody wins, they're going to win by one.
Yeah, or just one score, either a field goal or a touchdown right there at the end. Okay, man.
Right.
That's pretty bold. That's a pretty bold statement, man. And I like the way you did that, because it's anybody's game, like you said earlier. And it's true. It's true, man, that LSU has not come out of nowhere, but I knew Joe Burrow would be good the second season, and I knew that Oklahoma would be in there, just like you say. It's almost automatic. They win that Big 12 conference and they go undefeated, and or they lose one game, whatever, within conference, and they're going to be in it, just like if Ohio State or Michigan has a good season. Nothing out of the Pac-12, nothing really out of the East. Somebody picked Notre Dame to be in the Final Four.
No, that would never happen.
Yeah, that'll never happen. But, man, we appreciate talking to you, and we don't want to get too loud on telephone and wake your kids up. But, hey, man, I'm going to present. I haven't been home to see my wife yet, but we're going to present that tailgate party to her tonight, and I think we're going to be a go. We'll be seeing you next Saturday. But we're going to call you and get your final take before the game next Saturday. We'll probably get you maybe Christmas night or well, not Christmas night, but the day after Christmas we'll give you a holler.
Right, well, that'll work, and then, man, I'll try to give you a really final answer, but I'm on both sides of the fence with this game right here. Like I told you, I'd rather play Clemson or Ohio State than play Jalen Hurts and the Oklahoma Sooners, and that's just real talk. I just can't, I just think y'all powerful, and y'all got a lot of people coming in off the both sides of the bench at every play of the game, and that's going to be hard to do it.
I can't wait
and
to
y'all know what we got, and then y'all got all these people.
I feel the same way about, Joe Burrow and LSU. I mean, it's like it's LSU. They're scoring a whole bunch of points. I've thought the world of Joe Burrow all year, even before the season. I don't know. I mean, if you've seen some of the shows before the first kickoff of football ever started, I was high on Joe Burrow, but I did not think they were going to get this far.
Yeah, well, look, I've been high on Jalen Hurts since ever I saw him, and he's been in the running for the Heisman all the way with Joe Burrow. They've been neck and neck, and I don't know at what point that the BCS or whoever is the Heisman committee decided that it was going to be Joe Burrow, because I think that Jalen Hurts is right up there. I mean, I don't know who makes that decision.
It was the Bama game. It was the Bama game that did it for him, because they went out there and just lit Alabama up. And, as well as I do, everybody, when they hear they have to play Alabama, they just automatically put that loss on their schedule,
Right.
That was
That's
great,
right.
though.
Well,
but, look, I want to take a matchup, and we're going to let you go. I want to concentrate, and I'll be there with you, but I want to see that concentrated matchup between Stingley and C.D. Lamb, number 2 for OU. And I think that's going to be a matchup if they can get the ball to him, or maybe C.D.'s going the other side. He's going to stay away from Stingley, or Stingley's going to follow him all over. But that's going to be the key matchup of the game, to see that number 2. He caught 9 passes, Lamb did, for almost 200 yards, a couple of scores last year against Alabama. So I believe, that matchup's going to be the whale. But listen, man, we're going to go, and we're going to edit this, and I'll text you and let you know when the show comes out, so my brother can see it.
Yes, sir. That's fine. Thank you, man. I hope to see you for the game for sure.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.
Man, see you later.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, man. Love y'all, dudes.
Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
I think that's everybody.
I think that's everybody
that we needed to get tonight. If you missed calling us, or if we missed you, sorry about that. Joe, I feel pretty good about some of the feedback that we've gotten about our team, and I just make no mistake. I want to win this game. I mean,
it's about time we win this game.
I don't care who we're playing. I mean, I do respect and care who we're playing, but we could be playing whether it's South Carolina, Missouri, Clemson, Ohio State. I want to beat them. I don't want to lose. But if you misinterpreted me last show, you know, and it was apparently you didn't, because everybody seemed to, you know, be okay with it, and that's my team and yada, yada, yada. But, dude, LSU, I am not taking anything away from the LSU football program.
A great
Joe
season.
Burrow, Coach O in the city of Baton Rouge. Y'all are so deserving. This fan base is so deserving. You finally beat Alabama. You're in the CFP all these years, for the last 5 years. Hey, y'all ain't making it to the CFP. Y'all, we're in there. Where you at? Well, guess what? You finally made it.
You're in there.
So, you know what? Hey, man, the best team going to win. And really and truthfully, we're against the 8 ball here. What do they say?
Yeah.
How's that expression go? We're up
Behind
against
the 8 ball.
We're behind the 8 ball
Behind
here.
the 8 ball.
LSU is supposed to win. We're supposed to lose.
14-point favorite.
14-point favorite. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there.
Well, listen, man, we really appreciate it. I think we had a great time. We went over limit, and we're going to do it after Christmas, or maybe the Friday after Christmas, if we can. If not, we'll catch you after the game, which would be just a good show too. But I'd like to give shout-outs again to Lance Corporal Heath Mendoza, Okinawa, Japan, Marine, taking care of us, protecting us. Kane Taylor, I know it's cold up there in Kansas City. I've seen all that snow flurries and everything. Stay warm. I know you got to walk back and forth to work and school, things like that. Take care. We love you very, very much. Keep the shadow coming. And then Burke's Construction, again, a class in itself. Interior, exterior, remodeling, brand new, floor to ceiling. Burke's Construction. Give them a call when you need all your remodeling and your home building needs. That's it. That's all I got. We love y'all. Little ones, drink your milk. Say your prayers.
Yes, all right. Thank y'all very much for coming on the show. We'll try to get this thing going again before the game.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
See y'all later.
Say that.
See y'all later.
Bye.